The Free Cities. The Free Cities is the 15th featurette of the second season of Histories and Lore. It is the 39th featurette of the series overall. It was released on February 19, 2013 in Game of Thrones, the complete second season. It was written by Dave Hill and narrated by Ian Glenn as Jorah Mormont. Jorah Mormont explains the rise of the Free Cities of Essos in the wake of Valyria's doom, detailing how the cities differ and what one can expect to find in each one. Jorah Mormont, at its height, the Valyrian freehold ruled over half the known world. Not bad for former shepherds. But the doom fell on them and sent their capital into the sea. Now Volantis is the ember of old Valyria, ensuring its flame does not go out of this world. As any Volantene will tell you. Pentoshi say the same about Pentos, listens about Lys, and so on. But after enough time in the 9 free cities, it's hard to see them as anything but ashes of glory. Volantis is the oldest, the first colony of Valyria. After the doom, the Volantenes tried to rebuild the empire under their rule. They failed. Not least because the last Valyrian with dragons, Aegon Targaryen, entered the war against them. Now they are content to dominate only their lower classes. Or so they say. Braavos is the strangest, a city erected not by the freehold but against it. A labyrinth of illusion and deceit to hide the refugees from Valyria's slave lords. After the doom, the city emerged from the shadows to become one of the greatest banking centers in the world. A man can get anything in Braavos for a price. Especially death. Your own if one offends one of the swaggering swordsmen that pollute the city. Or, if you're very rich or very desperate, anyone else's. Lys is the easiest of the free cities, full of pleasure houses catering to every taste, no matter how peculiar. Many men lose themselves in Lys and are never found, at least alive. When a man runs out of coin, the Lysans may grant him their other specialty on the house, poison. Pentos is the most ruthless. The Magisters make a great show of choosing the Prince of Pentos from the great families and granting him the powers of trade, justice, and war. As long as he checks with them first. On the new year, to bring good fortune to Pentos, this prince must deflower the Maid of the Field and the Maid of the Seas. I confess I don't know how each is chosen or what becomes of them after serving their purpose. But, if a crop should fail or a war be lost, the Magisters will slit the prince's throat and choose another. The other free cities are known for what they make. Myr has its lenses and finery, Norvos, its axes, Qohor, its smiths who can reforge Valyrian steel, Tyrosh, its colors. I'm sure Loreth adds something to the world, but I can't think of it. Frankly, the 9 of them are more alike than they would care to admit. They hire the same soldiers to fight the same wars for the same rulers. The rich, be they called Magisters, Archons, or what have you. When a Dothraki Khalasar approaches, they give the same tribute to avoid the same sacking. For thousands of years, the disgraced of Westeros have reigned east to Pool in the free cities. For a man of honor counts for less than nothing unless it raises his price. Better men than I have learned that what a man sells for gold, he can never buy back. He must earn it by fire and blood. Appearances. Individuals. Ser Jorah Mormont. King Aegon I Targaryen, the Conqueror, mentioned. Institutions. Iron Bank of Braavos, indirectly mentioned. Locations. Valyrian Freehold. Old Valyria. Volantis. Braavos. Lys. Pentos. Myr. Qohor, mentioned. Norvos, mentioned. Tyrosh, mentioned. Loreth, mentioned. Events. Doom of Valyria, mentioned. Century of Blood, mentioned. Titles. Magister. Prince of Pentos. Maid of the Field. Maid of the Seas. Archon. Races. Dothraki. Miscellaneous. Dragon. Bravo, indirectly mentioned. Valyrian Steel, indirectly mentioned. Tears of Lys, indirectly mentioned. Valyrian Steel, mentioned. Free Cities. The Free Cities are 9 powerful, independent city-states located across the narrow sea from Westeros. They occupy the western end of the massive continent of Essos, and are engaged in extensive trade contact with the 7 kingdoms and lands further east. The overall range of the free cities and their respective territories is roughly equal in size to the lands of Westeros south of the Neck. Each of the 9 free cities has its own unique history and distinctive culture. History. The free cities were founded centuries ago as colonies of the Valyrian Freehold. When the Freehold and its dragon lords were destroyed in the Doom of Valyria 400 years ago, the empire fragmented, and a chaotic period of warfare known as the Century of Blood ensued. When the dust settled, the free cities emerged as autonomous entities, dominating much of the land between the River Rhoyne and the western coast of the continent. Volantis is the oldest and most populous of the free cities, and for a time during the Century of Blood it tried to conquer and reunify the others, but eventually their rivals formed alliances and Volantis was subdued. Originally, Volantis was also the most powerful of the free cities, and while still formidable, it was gradually eclipsed by the growing power of Braavos. Braavos is very much the odd one out among the free cities, as it was not founded as a colony by the Valyrians, but as a refuge by escaped slaves who fled from Valyria. Also known as the Hidden City, as its existence was kept secret for many years after its founding, Braavos was not devastated by the loss of central Valyrian control the way that the other 8 free cities were, and after the Dragonlords perished in the Doom, Braavos was happy to stop hiding its true power from the world. The city gradually increased in strength while the others were tearing themselves apart in civil wars, and in the present day Braavos is now considered the most powerful of the free cities, with extensive control of the sea trade and large fleets of both merchant ships and war galleys, in contrast with how Volantis has the largest and strongest land armies. Most importantly, it is the home of the Iron Bank of Braavos, which has become the largest financial institution in the known world, bigger than the banks of the other 8 free cities put together. In general, the free cities have a much more urbanized and mercantile culture than Westeros. Each city controls large swaths of territory, often not much smaller than one of the 7 kingdoms, with most of them controlling towns larger than some Westerosi cities. Slavery is also practiced in most of the free cities, except for Braavos, which has strict laws banning the practice. For centuries, it has been common for exiles from the losing sides of wars in Westeros to flee across the narrow sea to the free cities to seek refuge and fortune. The 9 free cities. Braavos, the most powerful and northerly of the free cities, led by the Sea Lord. The city is scattered across numerous islands in a sheltered lagoon, connected by bridges and an extensive network of canals. It is home to the influential Iron Bank of Braavos and the secretive assassins guild known as the Faceless Men. The city is noted for its formidable swordsmen, shipbuilding, religious tolerance and hatred of slavery. Loreth, considered the least known and least powerful free city, located on an island southeast of Braavos, in the Shivering Sea. Lys, located on an island in the Summer Sea, close to the Stepstones and protected by a formidable navy. Lys is a city of vice, famed for its pleasure houses, which produce the most skilled prostitutes in the known world. Its people tend to be fair-skinned, blonde-haired, and blue-eyed. Myr, a seaport on an arm of the narrow sea known as the Sea of Myrth. Noted for its skilled craftsmen and their products, particularly optical lenses and fine lace. Lys and Myr have been bitter rivals for centuries, perpetually fighting over the disputed lands between them. Its people tend to be dusky-skinned and dark-haired. Norvos, a major inland city, located on the Noin River northeast of Pentos. It is situated in the hill country in the north of Essos, known as the Hills of Norvos. The bearded priests of Norvos rule over the city as a theocracy. Norvos is renowned for its axes. Pentos, a major seaport, land-based and vulnerable to Dothraki incursions from the continental interior. Among other items, it is frequently noted for its trade in cheeses. Nominally ruled by the Prince of Pentos, true power is held by a council of merchant magisters. Qohor, a major inland city, located in the immense forest of Qohor near the edge of the Dothraki Sea, east of Norvos on the Coin River. Noted for its immensely skilled blacksmiths, who can even reforge Valyrian steel. Qohor maintains a garrison of unsullied warrior eunuchs which it buys from Slavers Bay to defend itself against the Dothraki. Tyrosh, a major seaport and mercantile city, ruled by the Archon. Tyroshi are known for extravagant clothes, flashy armor, and rich tastes. Tyrosh is located on an island close to the Stepstones, and is thus the free city closest to Westeros. Due to its location between the Stepstones, disputed lands, and Westeros, it is often seen as a major hub for hiring the services of various professional sellsword companies, to serve in the various conflicts of these different regions. Volantis, the southeasternmost of the free cities and the largest, most populous and most corrupt, ruled by the Triarchs of Volantis. Noted for its immense slave markets, wine and Valyrian traditions. Volantis was originally the most powerful of the free cities, but its strength was sapped in the Century of Blood, leading to it being narrowly edged out by Braavos. Volantis is built on the main mouth of the immense Rhoyne River, with numerous tributaries of the Rhoyne forming a defensive barrier to the east that protects the city from the Dothraki. The major trade routes from Westeros and the rest of the free cities to lands farther east, such as Slaver's Bay, the Jade Sea, Karth, and Ass High, all pass through Volantis. In the books. In the A Song of Ice and Fire novels, the 9 free cities occupy a large portion of western Essos. From north to south, they are Braavos, Loreth, Norvos, Qohor, Pentos, Myr, Tyrosh, Lys, and Volantis. Aside from Braavos, all of the free cities were founded as colonies of the mighty Valyrian freehold, and gained their independence after the doom of Valyria. George R.R. Martin has stated that the freehold is essentially his fantasy world's equivalent of the Roman Empire, so the free cities would be his equivalent of the medieval Italian city-states which formed in the centuries following the empire's collapse. Loreth, Tyrosh, and Lys are located on islands off the coasts, while Norvos and Qohor are inland to the east. The rest are major seaports on the mainland. Since they cover a large area, the free cities actually have quite wide variations in climate. Myr, Tyrosh, Lys and Volantis possess warm, coastal climates similar to the Mediterranean, while Norvos and Qohor have continental climates more similar to France or Germany, though culturally, they are not even remotely similar to anything found in medieval Europe. Officially, the term free city refers to a system of government. The city's founders purchased contracts from the freehold to exercise semi-autonomous rule over their internal affairs, though the Valyrian dragonlords still set their external policies, such as the wars with the Rhoynar people. This is somewhat similar to the free imperial cities of the Holy Roman Empire in the real-life Middle Ages, with their own local governments answerable only to the German emperor. Because they already had a measure of self-governance, the free cities were able to survive the chaos following the doom of Valyria more or less intact. In contrast, many direct colonies, which were totally dependent on Valyria itself, did not fare nearly as well. Only a few of these direct colonies in and around the Valyrian peninsula survived: Mantries, Tolos, and Illyria. Volantis was the first colony founded by the Valyrian freehold in western Essos. Its citizens consider themselves the true heirs to the old empire and still carry on many of its traditions. Lys, Myr, and Tyrosh were established as mercantile centers. In these cities, trade is considered the most honorable profession, and personal wealth counts for more than birth or lineage. Loreth, Norvos, and Qohor were founded by religious dissidents who wanted to escape the widespread tolerance of the freehold and practice their own beliefs without interference. Due to its central location, Pentos is something of a hybrid between the northern and southern free cities and shares qualities from both general groups. Braavos in the far north was founded by a diverse group of slaves fleeing Valyrian tyranny. As a result, it technically wasn't a free city in the sense that all the others were, but by tradition it simply gets lumped in with the rest. For this reason, Braavos is sometimes known as the bastard daughter of Valyria. In terms of size, Volantis is physically the largest city and the most populous, but Braavos is now the richest and most powerful. Volantis has the largest army, but Braavos has the largest navy and greatest financial power. Lys and Myr are perpetual rivals, frequently warring over the disputed lands to the west of the river Rhoyne, as well as the Stepstones. Volantis and Tyrosh are sometimes reluctantly pulled into these wars. Volantis, at the mouth of the Rhoyne, is a major slave trading center and a major stop for travelers heading from Westeros and the free cities to distant Slaver's Bay. The Rhoyne and its numerous tributaries form a substantial trade and transport link through the interior of the landmass. According to the World of Ice and Fire Sourcebook, 2014, there was once an additional free city, Assaria, located somewhere in the grasslands that formed the Kingdom of Sarnor. When the Dothraki rose up and destroyed the Sarnori city-states during the Century of Blood, Assaria was also raised, and was henceforth known as the Lost Free City.
If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.